So when I walk on this stage, thousands of members come back with thousands of kids. Particular things that may be knee slappers or heart grabbers. I remember the jinglin' janglin' rag when we went to a freeze and a big old-time camera went poof and everybody froze except one person, and the song continued on. And then the time when it didn't go off, and Wheat had lined up a whole vest full of battery packs, and it didn't go off, and it didn't go off, and all of a sudden, it all went off like that. I remember Wheat and I was doing the crazy corn set when I had to write you a letter, but I couldn't spell. And that's all I've got to say. I remember those crazy times. I remember in 2001, Valerie Young surprising everybody after we sang the song Dear God that Kevin Holliday wrote way back when, and we had him on as a guest, and he sang, Dear God, can you see a small child like me, about a person who was crippled, and it was written for his sister. Well, Valerie Young was crippled in choir, and secretly she had practiced walking. But when Kevin Holliday finished singing that, we had him come to the mic and given him a plaque to say, thanks, Kevin, for this song that has touched our hearts through the years. Then we gave him that and we hoorah'd him, and then was about to turn away, and Valerie's friend came up and tapped me on the shoulder and said, Dr. Lunt, there's more to the story. Val's been practicing walking because the song was about a person, how come you picked on me, God, that I can't walk? And so she said, look over there, and we looked stage left right over there, and here she came, walking. She had those two little handle crutch type things, canes, but she was clear on her own, and she walked slowly out right here, and there I was, and she walked right to me, and she had a rose for me, because the rose is the choir flower. It had the beauty of the rose, and life also has gotchas, the thorns. She was carrying the rose, and she knew what for, and she said, Dr. Lunt, I have a present for you. And I knelt down, and I took it, and I thanked her, and I said, look, Val, you're walking. And when I looked out to the crowd, everybody was standing. There goes Willie's. Everybody was standing, and everybody was applauding her. I said, look, Val, you're walking, and anything you can dream, you can do. She said, I know, I did it. And she said, I've got to go back now. And I said, can I help you turn around? Nope, I've got to do it. And she turned around and walked slowly back there, and everybody applauded all the way across. And then you could flip a coin and remember that right off stage left, there was the year that they added the big fire curtain, and they made it out of sheet metal, 1/4 inch thick, about that deep, that wide, and it tacked it onto the proscenium all the way across. I told the kids to watch out for it, that it was new this year, and it was painted black. So when you run from the lights into the offstage, you may not see it. Everybody remembered except David Robinson in the quartet. And we were wearing the styrofoam barbershop hat. And the guys' quartet ran off stage and left hard as they could go, and all of a sudden we heard and David came kind of staggering back, and it had sliced that styrofoam hat bill right there, and he had a big old goney right there. And I remember the choir singing to my wife, sometimes Aldi Law from the movie Roman Adventure, and we'd surprise her and bring her out from the crowd. We'd make up a big, let's make a spiel, ladies and gentlemen. But we brought her down and gave her whole bunches of roses and sang to her, and the choir would sing the backup. And then another years later, I would sing to her and sing No Man Can Stand Alone, Johnny Mathis song, Without Someone to Love, because she's the one that really supported me, and I never could have done it all without her. And I think of the Messiah years, and I'm thinking of a blind girl, lady who lives in Safford. And she wanted to try out for a soprano solo, and I let her. And then I placed her on one song that she didn't really try out for. But I asked her to sing, "Then shall the eyes of the blind be opened." And she had to do it on her own. There was a little walkway down the side of the grand piano on a little platform that had an X. And people with eyes could see stop and stand on the X so the microphone would be just the right distance. And I told her about that, that's what that's for, and that could I have somebody escort her down? She said, "No way, no way." And so somehow she felt something on the side of the grand piano all the way down to know where it was to stop. That I told her, that's where you need to be. I don't know how she did it. But when it was time for that in the Messiah, she made her way carefully up and walked down carefully on the platform to the place where the X was. And then she sang, "Then shall the eyes of the blind be opened." And there was not a dry eye out there because of the hope that that brought, that one day she'll see. In the fall, we always dream the dream of how they can be. And we talked about that the best and most beautiful things in this life can't be touched or even seen. They must be felt with the heart. So that's what I'm grateful for when I think about EA and all the kids that have gone through. And there's another one, the guy taking pictures. We sang a song called Candlelight Carol, and we needed a manger scene. And Todd was our angel. And this was a festival of carols, and we were way down in the program, so we hung him, we flew him way up there, all the beginning of the show. And so nobody knew there would be an angel, but here came Mary and Joseph out here. And then all of a sudden in the middle, down came an angel, and there was Todd Haney right there. It was so cool. But the words is what people remember too. How can you measure the love of a mother? And how can you write down a baby's first cry? Can't be done. When I came here, I thought, what could I give my kids? Something, what do they walk away with? That's my thing. What do they walk away with? And so we chose, the Lord bless you and keep you and give you peace. And I'd tell them each year, if I could give you anything, I'd give you peace, because money can't buy it. So every Friday we'd sing that to each other. And I'd like to look them right in the eye, and without saying a word verbally, our eyes would lock in, and I would say, I appreciate you, and I love you, and don't you forget it. So when we'd stand in the circle out there, we'd had roses we bought from Animus, like 1,000 roses we'd hand out, and we'd e-thorn them all and have the finger little ouches to show. And we had a crew with them in 5-gallon buckets. And while I announced and they made their way to the outside, my kids would run with the buckets and out, rose, 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 all the way around. So everybody holding a rose. And I'd run out to row H and run down, and that's where my wife was. And I'd stand right there in the middle of my family and look at my other family as we'd sing, the Lord bless you and keep you and give you peace. And one by one, I could look them in the eye and say, thank you for touching my heart all the way around. And some years at the end of it, even though it'd been the world's longest show, nobody would applaud until like 5 seconds after, and then they'd applaud, and then they'd stand. And I thought that was the greatest tribute to my kids, to be here with these kids, these students. When you see them walk in green, or maybe try out for a scholarship the spring before and see them walk on campus, some of them are ready to go. Just say, point me, or I'm good, where do you need me? And others are just real timid, lost, just a person who'd be happy just melting into a choir. But to me, that's the beauty of a choir, where you can take an individual that's not real secure, and because the crowd loves them, the group, you could see them blossom inside. You could see the lights come on, and you could see them almost physically say, hey, hear that applause? Hey, see what we did? See what we did? And you watch the lights come on in them. And so by the end of the year, by every show where they became a member of the team and the whole choir felt like, I can do it, even if they're not an all-stater, even if they're just in choir because the girls are good looking, first time guy, they believe in themselves and they became a member of the team. And so by the end of the year, they have this team feel and that I'm okay feel, and that they've looked inside and say, where can I go? Who am I and where do I fit right now? And where can I be? And if they will just never be satisfied with average and attempt the impossible, anything they can dream, they can do. And that's the neatest thing for me to see. And every Friday when we'd sing, that's what I loved about singing The Lord Bless You, standing in the middle, is because I could sing right to their eyes. I could look right into their eyes while they sang. And I could, without words, say, I knew you could do it. I knew you could. And then years later, they'd come back just to sing one more time, The Lord Bless You. Really to feel, I'm okay. They'd come back to feel. And that's what I loved. That's what I prayed for, that somebody upstairs would help me choose a song that would look inside some one person's heart. And I didn't even know who that was in the summer when we planned the year. But I could see the light come on, and then I'd know one night, that's for that person. That's the one. And so I'd say a little thankful prayer for the good Lord for picking music that would lift somebody and help them go out into life and say, I can do it. I'm okay. That's what I liked about it. Okay? Sorry about that. I'm David Lunt, and I'm a fighting Gila monster. Arr!